Our third tip is tell the people around you what you're doing.
Yeah, this is like it's really important because you're probably going to neglect a lot of people in this month. They're gonna wonder where you've gone.
Yes.
And you know, you're already stressed, and the last thing you need is more stress piled on by, you know, the disappearing act that you've pulled. I think if everyone has a little bit of a heads up, it really helps, doesn't it?
It really does, you know, and then also, especially when you're telling other people who write or who are your support group, because it helps build that support, and you know, and they can ask, "Oh, hey, how's Nano going? You know, how are you doing on that?" It kind of keeps you on track. But I do like, yeah, that, you know what, you're going to miss these stuff, so let people know, hey, you know what, I'm going to be around. I'm going to go crazy for a month.
And you'd be surprised how much support you do get, because it is an interesting thing, isn't it? When you tell someone like, oh, you know, I'm taking part in this competition, I've got to write 50,000 words in a month. It's like, it's jaw dropping. It's like, what?
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, I spend a lot of time with our local Nano group. It's a fantastic writers group. And I'm always surprised with the influx of new people that come to the group at the beginning of Nano to come and get the information, because there's so many people that do. They want to write a novel. They're excited that you're writing a novel because it's something that they want to do as well. And certainly something that they'll want to talk to you about.
Definitely think tell everyone you can.
So for number 4 is and I'm sorry, Peter, I'm going to throw you off on this one a little bit. I added this one in at the last minute, so but I think you'll be able to follow along. Anyway, it's called Tell the Story, and this is something that I've been working on a lot to get that first, and it's kind of that counterintuitive because we're always talked about show, don't tell, but oftentimes getting the words out that you need is just done by telling. And because there's a lot of times that we can run into problems with scenes when we're writing, and all of a sudden we get just stopped up because we're trying to search for the right thing to say, or it doesn't feel like it's powerful enough or something like that. And these are the moments that you tell the story. You know what needs to happen. John goes into the store. John feels like he's downtrodden by so-and-so, like, and you just tell it, and you move through that until you can get to that point where things start to flow again in your writing. And don't feel bad about that. Don't remember, this is not 50,000 words that are publishable at the end of the month. You're trying to get 50,000 word manuscript done, you know, so that you can work on it for, you know, a few months with editing, and then it'll be ready to submit or to share.
Yeah, and I think that really works well with having the one sentence summary, because when you do need to sit down and you know, inspiration might not be striking, there might not be a scene you're passionate about, and you literally just need to know what the next step is. I mean, we're talking plot, aren't we? And
we are, yeah.
the P word. And yeah, and that really helps, because then you can think, right, okay, so this is where I'm going to start. This is where I'm going to end. What's a logical sequence that's going to get me there, and write that scene. And it's not that glamorous sometimes, but you know, gets the word count on.
It really does. And this is actually where I am on the start of every one of my books now, is that I put on, I use Dragon Naturally Speak, and I dictate the first draft, and I just talk it all out. I talk, and some of it's more of the show, but there's some chunks in there that are just tell, because I'm just trying to get the story, and I'm trying to get something that I can work with later in editing, you know, to really put it together. And I can't do that until I get that first draft done and out of the way. And it doesn't matter that it's good or not good, because I know that it's going to get better on the way when I get into my editing steps. I just need to have something finished. And that's what I think Nano really teaches you, is that you just need to have something finished, and you don't have to think about that self-editor. And that's where our number 5 coming up is no editing. You know, that you're not going to do the editing portion here.
Yeah, this is what I mainly took from Nano myself. This whole letting go of the perfectionism, not tripping up over every sentence and looking back over it and wanting it to be perfect. And, oh, I don't like that last paragraph, I'm going to go back and redo it. Or don't like the opening to that chapter. You've got a word count to hit, and you've got to hit it every day, and you need to hit this 50,000 limit And you can't be picky. You can't be going back over when you're like, when the words are flowing and you see the little red squiggle on the screen, you can't even go back for that. Just leave it, just keep moving. And by the time you get to the end of the month, because I think they say like is it 30 or 60 days to build a habit, but you're at least halfway there anyway. So by the end of the month, it's going to become a skill where you just do this, you just write, and it's okay. It doesn't matter if it's no good. You can go back later and think, don't really like that. Maybe I'll just put it in that folder that might get used one day, or maybe I will use it. But this is a really valuable skill to learn.
It really is, and there's nothing better than being able to complete a manuscript, that you can actually put your story down into some sort of words and semblance and a story that you've crafted here, and the inner editor certainly can, it can sure hold us up a lot of times, because we know that it's not as good as we want it to be. But guess what? Every author who sits down, every author sits down and it's not as good as they want it to be. And that's okay. That they have to be able to shut that off and to move forward so that they can have something that they can work on that is as good as they want it to be later. So it's not going to happen on the first try. And this kind of goes back to this idea, I talk a lot of metaphor on building and construction. It's like if you go watch someone build a house, they're not building it one room at a time. You don't have to have the first chapter perfect before you can move into the second chapter. You're building out this whole story at the same time and then coming back through and perfecting.
Exactly. And I know we've talked about this before, haven't we? Where, you can't perfect it because you might be getting rid of it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. There could be an entire chapter you just got to cut out, or a section and the scenes or characters, you have no idea where it's all going to go at the end. And so, yeah, don't waste your time perfecting something that might not even be used. So.
Thank you for listening, and come back next week for more. Please visit thebookeditorshow.com for show notes, links to guests, books and extras, and for information on how to be a guest on the show.